Hi everyone, welcome to another film log update video. Yes, the fifth video, in this series, of course, this massive series that I've been doing for almost a year now, and even though it's the only kind of fifth video, I've done. It's been a while, and yes, this time around, of course, July and August 2020, we'll be kind of covering, simply covering the kind of or logging, of course, the kind of film experiences. It could be watching for the first time, of course, or rewatching shorts or features, of course, in this particular time period, of July and August 2020. Not every single film that I've watched, or rewatched, of course. I will kind of discuss here, but most of the films, or at least give a mention to, and I like to do this. It's been a kind of a positive thing. Simply sometimes I haven't got the time or energy, of course, to kind of review every single film that I watch, of course, or rewatch. And it's simply the case of sometimes even I want to at least give a kind of a short review, perhaps a first time watch, and I think it'd be great to kind of talk, and then I kind of realise I just haven't got the time, or I need to perhaps review certain films that I'm doing in a massive series that's been ongoing. Of course, I've got many different ones going on in the background, so sometimes I just simply can't, review everything that I want to kind of review. But yes, this allows me to at least mention and now you viewers, of course, to at least get some sort of kind of idea, of course, and then we can kind of talk about multiple films within the kind of one kind of section of the comments, and it's kind of a very nice thing to do. And yes, once again, we'll start off with the first kind of film that I watched in July, and that was The Rainmaker with Burt Lancaster from 1956. And yes, this is a film. It's not too popular, this one. It's a film that I think seems like the kind of the response is mostly kind of underwhelming, or just yes, not much people kind of like this one too much. It seems, and yes, I found this to be a very interesting film, actually, and to be honest, I like this film. I didn't love the film. I think it's definitely things that could have been better in this, but I think just simply. First of all, the character, the title character, of course, the main character, played, of course, by Burt Lancaster, is really so enjoyable and just so kind of upbeat and kind of jolly and so kind of charming. I loved this character, and just seeing, of course, the interactions as well, and I think the final moments of the film really just kind of brought me to this kind of to this state, of course, and just really uplifted me, and some really interesting messages in this film as well. And simply charming film, relaxing, nothing to kind of great, I don't feel, but simply a good film with some very nice moments, interactions, of course, and yes, a particular character in the film that I really loved. Kind of a fantastical film, this, very silly at times as well, in its kind of tone. But I did like this film quite a bit, and yes, I recommend it, of course. But yeah, again, I don't think too many people kind of take to this film, but I personally did, and I had a really good time with this one. So last time around as well, I mentioned, I watched Faust, of course, the F.W. Murnau silent, masterpiece for me. And yes, I watched this in July, beginning of July, of course. But last time round, that video, of course, I was filming that, I guess in July. So, I kind of just thought I wanted to there and then at least mention it as well. But yeah, that was in July, of course. So yes. Once again, mentioning Faust, simply check it out, of course. If you haven't seen this film, of course, and this is one of the greatest films ever made, in my opinion. So yes, once again, Faust. Watching that, and yes, on the same day, we have the film here, The Big Sleep, and of course, a Howard Hawks film. Humphrey Bogart stars in this, of course, and yes, Lauren Bacall as well. In this film, and yes, very interesting film. This a very kind of loved film, of course, overall. And yes, I saw this film for the first time. It was a couple of years ago now, and I kind of I wanted to kind of give this another watch because I kind of struggled with this film originally, although I did like it. And once again, unfortunately, or maybe not unfortunately, once again, I just simply I had kind of the same experience, or at least similar. I love the style of the film. I love the atmosphere at times. I love the first 20 minutes, actually 30 minutes of the film. That first kind of sequence with a massive conversation there, and the interactions in that kind of estate there, that location, I loved. I think it's great. That's the kind of the investment that I originally thought I'd have for the rest of the film, but it kind of goes off. Again, I understand the intention of some films is to kind of be meandering and kind of just maybe yes repetitive in a particular way in terms of structure, but of course for me it's all personal opinion, of course, and if you don't respond to certain films and stuff, it doesn't really have anything to do with the intention. It's simply your experience, of course. And yes, I do find it goes off, and it keeps going. I just a lot of this film I don't find that investing really. I find it to be quite flat, and just the characters and stuff. I lost connection at times. It's just kind of simply at times for extended period of time. I think it's just nice to look at. Nice feelings at time. Humphrey Bogart once again stand out, of course. I think even in Humphrey Bogart, of course, is in. It's in films that I don't love. I do usually love Humphrey Bogart, and this is no exception. He was great in this film, and it has got some moments after the first kind of half an hour where I do really like the film again. But mostly it's in terms of consistency. I think it just isn't really there for me, and I like the film, but I simply personally don't love the film. Next up is The Expendables, of course, and yes. Very famous film, and I saw this when it came out, actually around about the time it was released originally, and yes, I didn't like the film. I thought who knows. I was curious to see if I would kind of take to the film a bit more this time around, and yes, unfortunately not. It didn't really happen. So yes, I don't like the film personally. The script, the action, of course, and the characters really. So yes, just not very enjoyable film for me personally, but it's of course got its fans, and yes. Next up is Goldeneye, the James Bond film, of course Pierce Brosnan, his debut Bond film, and this is a film that I absolutely adore, and very kind of different to the Expendables, of course. I absolutely love this film. One of my absolute favourite kind of James Bond films, and therefore films in general. One of my top 100 actually favourite films of all time, and yes, just I reviewed this film again fairly recently. So if you're interested in that and my James Bond reviews, I've been doing, of course, more kind of reviews again on this wonderful franchise. So yes, Goldeneye, one of my favourites within my favourite franchise of all time, James Bond. So yes, next up is a very, very interesting film here, Snake Eyes, by Brian De Palma, and yes, starring the one and only Nicolas Cage, and really enjoyable film. Actually, I think this is a film that, again, this is not popular. At times it's panned, and I've heard some really negative things about this, but I really enjoyed this one. I think it could have been better. I think the first kind of act to this film, I absolutely loved. I think if it kept up to that kind of kind of energy and just level of enjoyment, kind of bizarre enjoyment, I think it could have been a film that I loved actually, and it could have been one of my perhaps one of my favourite kind of Brian De Palma films, but it kind of went off, and it wasn't really the same film after that. But regardless, I think this is definitely underappreciated, this film, and I really enjoyed this one. I think it's a good film, and it's just very bizarre, but that's what I love as well about this film. It's very unique, and just insane at times, but I really love the way it's shot, edited. I love Brian De Palma's techniques, films like this and Scarface and The Untouchables, as well. Blowout, these are films that I love. The visuals, the way in which he kind of distorts as well. The visuals. I just love the way he shoots it. These films, and Nicolas Cage was hilarious throughout, and good film that I really enjoyed. I'd recommend it. I really would if you haven't seen it. And next up is Three Men and a Baby, and I'd seen this before as well. Actually, and I've been many years since I'd seen this, so I didn't remember too much about it, of course. But Steve Guttenberg, of course, Ted Danson, and Tom Selleck, as these three guys, and just hilarious film. I really liked this one, and I think it's a very funny film, and just very charming and kind of human, and really, I'm quite a big fan, of this one. Then we have the original, A Nightmare on Elm Street, and from 1984. Of course, I've been going through, these films again. I announced the kind of series that I'd be doing, and unfortunately, I've kind of I've kind of come to a halt. Not from watching these, although maybe a little bit as well, but reviewing them, and I promise I will go back, of course, to the third one, reviewing that, and continue very soon. But it's been around about a month, since I kind of last reviewed a film in this series, of course, with the second one, and over this period I watched, the first four again. I just simply have to review 3 and 4, and then continue, of course, with 5, part 5. Apologies for that. But yes, the first one, of course, having here on the log, and one of my favourite horror films of all time. And the second one, I love too. And the third one, we'll get to that, because that actually has blown me away, kind of all over again, actually. And it's really special film, that. And of course, we have much to say about that. But we will. I plan on reviewing that, in the next week or so. I want to kind of get back into reviewing these films, and I promise it won't be that long again. In terms of breaking in these reviews. But of course. Next up is the Mask of Zorro, directed by Martin Campbell, and of course, Antonio Banderas. Banderas, of course, he is an absolute legend, in this film, and I think this is a great film, in my opinion. Absolutely, just a magical experience, and a very dark film as well. But Anthony Hopkins is just so good in this film. Catherine Zeta-Jones, I think, is probably at her best as well. So enjoyable, this film. I love this film, and it's definitely on my list of favourites somewhere. But absolutely amazing, and yet another Martin Campbell film that is just so good, and absolutely loved it. I plan on watching The Legend of Zorro fairly soon, but The Mask of Zorro, absolutely amazing. I saw this many times as a kid, and it's just a real legendary film for me. Next up is E.E. and the Edward Yang, the final feature film, unfortunately, of Edward Yang, and but for me, check out my review if you want to know my in-depth thoughts. An absolute masterpiece for me, and just so wonderful. The experience of that. Let me just say, it was absolutely wonderful. Really was, and just a stunning film in every single regard. Stunning. Next up, Desperado, of course, Robert Rodriguez film, and again, Antonio Banderas, in this film. And I love this film as well. Again, yet another film proving, how much, just how much I kind of love this actor, and Rodriguez as well. Really interesting director, and it's just a very, hilarious film at times, and just a really great kind of campy action film. Next up is City Slickers, a very interesting film. I don't have too much to say about that, but I found it to be very surprising, very nostalgic film. In its kind of its themes, and yeah, just very interesting kind of in essence Western film. You could say it's a kind of Western, and yes, very enjoyable. I really liked this film, and yes, definitely I'd recommend it. And yes, next up is Children of the Corn, a Stephen King adaptation, of course. And I'd seen this once before, and I kind of I remember moments of this film, and the locations, of course, and yes. I never really remembered my actual thoughts on this. I saw it when I was a kid, and I'm not a big fan of this one. I found it to be a very disappointing kind of work for the actual ideas going for it. Kind of the actual concept. I find myself to be underwhelmed. Actually, I thought I could have liked this a lot more, but yet again, it's just another film that I just wasn't I wasn't a fan of personally. But yes, next up is Tomorrow Never Dies. Yet again, another Bond film that I love, and you can check out my review of that if you want. And yes, another Coen Brothers film, Burn After Reading. This one really surprised me. I loved this film, and I think I did plan on reviewing that straight after. But I think I could review this film very soon. It's just a case of it's on the backlog of reviews, and yes, just I did yes, I definitely loved this film, and yes, just really recommend this. And again, I will review this hopefully fairly soon, within the next few weeks from this video. And yes, next up is Michael. John Travolta, of course, stars here, and yes, a very very unique film as well. Again, a film that's not popular. I personally, I loved, this film, magical experience, and of course Andy McDowell. Once again, just she is such a magical, actress. She always makes a film so enjoyable and just so feel good. I love Andy McDowell, and yes, highly enjoyable film. And yes, next up is Crank. It's a film that I kind of yes, I wanted to check out. I'd never seen this before, and yes, a good film. One, or maybe an average, kind of borderline average and good. But I think it started off really strong. It kind of lost its way, but I found it to be an entertaining film, quite unique, and I did have issues with the film personally, in terms of the way it was kind of shot and stuff. But I think a very fun film, a really insane film, hilarious film, but enjoyable overall, as a piece. Next up is Wishmaster, and very peculiar film. This I didn't like it. A horror film, of course, and yes, I wasn't a fan of this. I just I'm not a fan personally. But yes, next up, the day after watching that, I watched a truly great horror film, and as I say, I'll review this film hopefully very soon. A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. Yes, indeed. Next up is The World Is Not Enough. Again, I reviewed this film. You can check out. I've got a playlist of my Bond reviews, James Bond reviews. So yes, I loved that film again. So yes, just. Yes, you can check out my reviews on James Bond films, and yes, I watched a couple of Adam Sandler films. I've been going through some of his works, and particularly his kind of earlier works, and have been just realizing how much actually I am a big fan of Adam Sandler, and I think the other one that I've always loved for at least a few years. I've loved Punch Drunk Love. I watched that, and that's the one that really kind of changed my kind of view on Adam Sandler's his acting, and just I thought I love this guy when he's given the right material, perhaps, and the right project, of course. But yes, actually there are many other films since as well. Recently, a few months back, I watched Happy Gilmore, and I absolutely loved that film. And this time as well, I watched Billy Madison, and very enjoyable film. Very charming, feel good film. And I think his early works, kind of 90s kind of works, and going on a bit more than that, I think they are, actually very enjoyable films, and I think maybe he lost, in terms of projects, it was a bit unfortunate perhaps, for going a bit further on in his kind of filmography. But, I think again, it seems like he's having this kind of perhaps this comeback, from what I've been hearing, and I'm very interested in checking out, kind of Uncut Gems. But yes, the other one that I watched was Big Daddy, and this is one that I really loved as well, actually, and it's even better than Biddy Madison, in my opinion. Very entertaining films here, and yes, I'm definitely, I must say I'm a big fan of Adam Sandler. Just not, some particular works, but that happens. It's just a case of, perhaps. The material being offered to a particular actor, it's just not as strong, or maybe not something that I'm drawn to, as much. But he really is, when on form, a very enjoyable actor, and he can be a great actor. Performances, really very very enjoyable actor, for me. Next up is The Hunted, Benicio del Toro, and of course, yes, Tommy Lee Jones, a very interesting film first, but I think it went off, and it was very bland, unfortunately. I liked the film, but it wasn't too much in the way of, it didn't wow me, let's just say that. Kind of a standard, at times very bland and kind of flat, kind of action adventure thriller film, but it was a decent film. I'd maybe recommend, and of course, yes, next up, The Dream Master, Nightmare on Elm Street 4. So yes, again, I will get to these. That was very nearly a month ago now that I watched that again, and I haven't yet reviewed it. So again, apologies for that. It's just the way it is, I guess. Next up, Geronimo, an American legend, kind of a Western film once again, and again, I've wanted to kind of stick to a Western, or Western every month or two that I kind of talk about, review. I thought, I'll watch this and see if I can review this, but in the end, I was very underwhelmed with this film, and I didn't actually like this, so I thought we'll leave that. I'll wait till I see a Western that I do like, and I can kind of talk about a bit more, kind of positively. I didn't like the film. I'm very bland, and just didn't invest me, personally. And yes, next up is Mr. Popper's Penguins, of course, starring Jim Carrey, and yes, just a very it's more of a recent, you could say, kind of Jim Carrey comedy, in terms of his filmography, his kind of in the grand scheme of things, of course, and yes, a very nice, kind of family film, and I found it to be, yes, a decent film, an enjoyable film, and yes, very warm, and just yes, a simple kind of family film. In the end, it came together very well, and I enjoyed it. I found it to be very funny, and Jim Carrey, of course, was very enjoyable in the film, and yes, just maybe not one of my favourite kind of Jim Carrey films, but that's because he's made so many great films, and he really was one of the kind of individuals that made my childhood so much better. So yes, this is a very nice film, and yes, that was kind of just before I had my kind of 2.5 weeks or so of kind of free time, and I took time, of course, and I kind of as I've been saying very recently, I took this time to kind of, once again, it was that time of year really, where I kind of have this kind of period of rewatching a lot of my favourites, kind of celebrating, kind of in terms of films, and most of my kind of, for these 2 weeks or so, most of my film experiences are kind of rewatching my favourites. Again, it could be top 500, it could be top 25, etc. And yes, this film, of course, Popper's Penguins, was very close to that, kind of starting the first film, of that kind of period that I had, free time. I thought, it was kind of it was a film that I wanted to kind of tick off, I guess, and then move on to the next in this series, and that was Die Another Day, and yes, that was the first film of that kind of free, that kind of break, of course. But yes, Next up after that was The Adventures of Robin Hood, the Michael Curtiz film, and yes, starring of course Errol Flynn, the legendary Errol Flynn, and of course Olivia De Havilland, the wonderful actress who unfortunately passed away very recently. And that was very tragic. And she was a great actress, of course, so great. From what I've seen from her, and she was wonderful. So sad that she passed away, but yes, this film here, yet another film that she was really special in, and I think just this film I want to review. There's no way I'm not going to review this one. I simply love this film so much, and yes, I have it next to me actually on Blu-ray. In the kind of pile of films to review. So yes, expect that to be within the next again kind of 2 or 3 weeks. Kind of from now. But yes, I'd recommend it to anyone who likes cinema, especially adventure films, of course. And next up is Red, of course, starring Bruce Willis and a variety of actors and actresses, of course. John Malkovich, Helen Mirren, etc. And yeah, I was very disappointed with this film. Actually, the great cast, and they really saved the film. Actually, Helen Mirren, especially, she was great in the film. John Malkovich, actually, he was constantly so funny, and just Bruce Willis as well. Just really enjoyable. But I think this film just didn't really do too much for me. I liked the film. It's an okay film. Very average. Very bland at times. But I was kind of disappointed. Again, it was just saved really by the cast. For me. But yes, of course. Next up, of course, the wonderful Stand By Me, and I reviewed that film very recently, of course. But that was one of the films that I watched over this kind of period of this celebration period. And yes, of course, one of my favourite films. Just simply stunning. Stranger on a Train was the next day. Again, I reviewed that. I also reviewed the next 2 films, Hard 8 and Rope. So yes, check them out if you want to know my kind of thoughts on them. But yes, starting off that first kind of main week, with Hitchcock and Stand By Me, of course Paul Thomas Anderson, wonderful experiences. I was spoiled there. So yes, glossing over some here, but yes, next up, a very special film here, the Shawshank Redemption, and I don't know if I'll bother reviewing that. I guess, but take note. It's one of my favourites. It really is a special film, that, and it's really nice to see that it's so kind of loved, and of course sometimes you maybe get questions of kind of in relation to the praise that a certain film gets, and I think yes, The Shawshank Redemption is simply really wonderful. I feel that people love this film so much, and it's just so universally kind of loved and acclaimed, and that's wonderful. It really is, because it's such a hopeful, just beautiful film, and the fact that many people love this film, and it's so popular. I think that's wonderful. Really, I couldn't praise this film any more as well. I think it is one of the finest films ever made, in my opinion, and this experience of, as I say, I may not review this film, but for now, let me just say that it's certainly when I do my kind of favourite films lists, in the future, this is going to be very high. It's in my top 100, simply, and yes, absolutely. Well, it's undescribable, really. I guess I don't really need to say any more. It's a film that really, the words, I don't think can do justice, really. It's a film that you experience, and yes, just the Shawshank Redemption, one of the most special, films of all time, and yes, one of my favourites. Next up, is a truly special film as well, and as I say, mostly rewatching, of course, my favourites, a variety of favourites. So all these films, really I love. But yes, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Yes, indeed. This film, is truly one of the most legendary and magical experiences in the history of cinema. One of my absolute favourites, and I think yes, I will be reviewing, of course, hopefully very very soon, that film, and I did review The Meaning of Life, the final feature, of course, from Monty Python. So if you are interested in that, I think yes, check that out, of course. Yeah, it'd be great to kind of to hear your thoughts, on that film, and of course, I do plan on reviewing, of course, the rest of the Monty Python content that exists, of course. So yes, there'll be a gradual thing, but Holy Grail I will review, of course, hopefully very very soon in the next kind of week or so. So yes, truly truly special. Without kind of giving my rating for now, but yes, extremely extremely positive review on that expected. So yes, next up, talk about special, Casino Royale, of course. Wow, Martin Campbell, of course, directing once again. One of the very very best Bond films, and therefore films of all time for me. But this really this took on another form. Once again, I think this film is just it's very very this is genius. It's very unique, of course. The way it kind of it kind of changes form every time. Every time I watch this one, the more and more I watch every other Bond film as well, because it's got, of course, such a unique kind of scenario, being the kind of in essence the kind of prequel, to the rest of the Bond films, and I think this is. We'll save the comments for that review. I plan to review that film again within the next week or so. Kind of upload that shortly after. So just over a week perhaps from this upload. Video here. The uploading time for this, and yes, expect a review of Casino Royale. So yes, of course, Daniel Craig, his debut, and yes, next up is. Once again, I was really picking some legendary films for this period. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I can't say much about this because it's so overwhelming. Still just thinking on the experience I had with this. Absolutely. Yes. Again, I could review this one. So yes. For now, we just say. I can't really say any words currently because it's that kind of emotional, and yes, just it really is a special film to me, and of course to many people, it seems. So yes, next up, this could be the most special of all of them that I've mentioned. That I've mentioned on my channel for some time as well, and we'll get to that, of course, and we'll review this film. But Boogie Nights, I did say that on my birthday I'd be watching this film again for the fourth time. So yes, I did. I watched it on my birthday, and yes, we'll get to that film. Truly special film to me, and yes, that's all we'll say for now. But expect that within the next 2 weeks, the next Paul Thomas Anderson film to kind of discuss, of course, in this kind of series that I've been doing, of course. So yes, next up is The Mask, Jim Carrey film as well, and I love this film, and it's such a great film, for me, and it's just once again picking up on so much going on in this film, so charming, this, and so clever, just Jim Carrey, just so many performances here, Cameron Diaz as well, her debut actually film role, and she was great in this film, and yes, such a kind of fun film, so creative and so energetic, and just the comedy and the drama, very very unique film, and I love the film. So yes, next up, I dived back into this part, the first part of the Bond set that I have, of course, and yes, watching once again, very randomly, just kind of yes, I'm going on this this series rewatched, of course, in chronological order. But I thought, kind of, I would watch once again. You Only Live Twice, and I really just I had the urge to kind of watch it again, and it's a one that you can just put on. And it's a very you could say it's very light at times, and yes, I wanted to once again just kind of go through this film. It's just such an enjoyable film for me, and it's what I wanted to kind of see for my next ranking. Kind of James Bond ranking. I wanted to kind of see some particulars. In terms of do I like this more than that? So yeah, because as I've been saying, my ranking this time around is quite different, and I wanted to kind of get it right, so I don't have to kind of do another ranking. So I wanted to rewatch this, and because it's very close to certain other Bond films, and this time around, yes, I have more of a kind of an idea actually. Yes, just once again, such a great film, an experience, and really legendary Bond film for me, and it's just really it's a real energetic film. This I love how kind of Bond, it's just kind of in the first act, it's very jokey at times, and he goes from location to location. The way in which this is edited, and just the feel of this, the kind of the thrill of it, actually, and just the feeling, the energy, and the magic. But then, of course, the second half, this is when it really kind of we have big events, in this film. And again, I've reviewed this film, this year, and if you want to see my thoughts on that with spoilers, of course, in these discussions, check it out, of course. And yes, I believe that was kind of February, or yes, it was February. Or March that I reviewed that film again. So yes, if you are interested in that, again, check out my reviews. If you please, if you want to. So yes. Next up, Crocodile Dundee. I saw this as a kid. Do remember too much about this one, and yes, a highly enjoyable film, and it's a really hilarious film, and just very investing. I think the second half is actually probably better than the first half, and I really overall really enjoy this film, and I'd recommend it, of course. If you haven't seen Crocodile Dundee, really is a very unique film, and actually I do really think I think it's a very good film actually, and very charming experience. So yes. Next up is Bulletproof, another Adam Sandler film, and yes, I like this film. It's not one of my favourites from Adam Sandler, but yet again another film that is not kind of praised too much really. But yes, I personally really liked some elements of this, and I think yes, very enjoyable overall. But yes, while not one of my kind of favourite Adam Sandler films, definitely an enjoyable film that I recommend, of course, if you've not seen it. So yes, next up is Good Boys from 2019. So yes, very interesting film. This one, it's a good film that I enjoyed. I think it kind of the final act, I feel was weaker than the kind of the rest of the film, and but it's a good film. Very charming film, of course. I was thinking there was things about this film I wasn't personally a fan of, including a lot of the soundtrack, but just enjoyable kind of warm film, I guess. And yes, just I'd been hearing things about this, and I was recommended this as well by a few people, and yes, checked it out, of course, and I enjoyed this film. I'd recommend it, and yes. Next up is Bruno, and yes, of course, Bruno is a very kind of it's a very kind of famous film for a number of reasons. But yes, Sacha Baron Cohen, he's of course he's made Borat, and that's another film. Again, very kind of well known, at least, and yes, I much prefer Borat. I think that's a stunning film actually. It's a really underappreciated one in my opinion. I think it's absolutely amazing. This one, Bruno, it's a good film. It's definitely some things that don't really work for me. But I think it's definitely an effective comedy. In my opinion, and it's doing some interesting things as well. Kind of maybe yeah, it's a very unique, in its approach. I think, it's an enjoyable film. Definitely some funny moments, especially the kind of Harrison Ford, moment, in that film. He makes an appearance. But yes, all round, it's a fine film. It's definitely not as good as Borat, in my opinion. But yeah, just Bruno. Would I recommend it? Well, I guess it's not too popular at all. Actually, Bruno, so maybe not. But if you're interested, as I always say, you can check out any film, of course, just to see what you think of it. And yes, next up is, once again, I couldn't get enough of this film, this year, and that is The Room. Of course, the legendary The Room, and you can laugh, you can cry, you can express yourself, but please don't hurt each other, and that's all I'll say. Once again, watching this, and yes, just legendary, in so many ways, and I love the film. I did review this, this year, and yes, if you're interested, again, you can check that out. But yes, The Room, and I plan on rewatching again the Disaster Artist, possibly, in a few weeks. So yes, next up is American Pie. Once again, watching this, and I reviewed that a while back, and this time round, I loved the film even more. So yes, my rating would be a lot higher, based on this. But yes, for the record, I love the first, American Pie film, and yes, probably be rewatching two, the wedding and reunion as well. So yes, American Pie, and today, the final film to discuss is Flawless. Of course, Philip Seymour Hoffman and Robert De Niro, in the same film. Would you believe? It's such an interesting film, this, and these two actors here. Well, De Niro is, as I say, I usually say this. He is probably my favourite actor. Philip Seymour Hoffman is one of my favourite actors. He was such a genius as well, and I think seeing these two together, and the performance, of course, by Philip Seymour, I think especially in this film, is really quite wonderful, and really nice, kind of human film. This, very, very good, in my opinion. That's all I'll say. And yes, it's just a film that I recommend. Of course, I'm going through Philip Seymour Hoffman's films. At the moment, of course, with Paul Thomas Anderson, the kind of series that I'm doing. So naturally, I thought it'd be best to kind of, once again, kind of dabble into perhaps ones that I'd not seen as well elsewhere, from other directors. Joel Schumacher directing this one, and very interesting film. It's not a film that I found to be, kind of, perhaps a masterpiece. But I think the performances, especially, absolutely stunning. And yes, I'd recommend this film. Really wonderful film, with some very human moments, and yes, just a constantly investing film, really. The final act, kind of, it was a bit disappointing, really, but yes, the overall film, very, very good. And yes, that's the final film to discuss this time round. And there are other films that I've kind of just passed by perhaps, but yes, most of the films, I've watched. These are the features that I've watched and stuff. Yes, it's been a very interesting 2 months, and of course a great period, for my kind of around my kind of birthday time, and watching films over that kind of 2 week or so period, rewatching a variety of favourites. That was just wonderful, and once again, it's been a much needed kind of breather, and this period of just it's hard to explain, but just kind of bringing myself back, to the passion, to the films that I love, and just taking a break, and it was essential. It really, really was. In fact, it's kind of saved me once again, temporarily. It was very, maybe things were not going too well at times, before that, for a number of months, for me, but I think that was very, watching films like Boogie Nights, just as well, just doing other things that I needed to do, for my well-being. Really, just kind of, brought me back to that kind of state of, that I want to maintain, the kind of the mood, the kind of the passion, creative drive, and just the kind of just taking a break. As I say, it was really, really needed. That was essential, and it was better than I thought it would be. So yes, that was great, and that's the kind of main kind of bulk of films. As I say, that I really had some great experiences with. Some of them I've reviewed, of course. Some of them I plan on reviewing, and some of them maybe not, or maybe I've kind of already talked about them films. But yes, for now that's it, and I look forward to, of course, kind of reviewing the films that I've kind of mentioned that I will. So yes, we'll wrap up. That's it for now, and for this time round. And yes, tell me your thoughts. What do you think of these films? You can leave a comment, of course, if you want, and you can talk about as much films as you want that I've mentioned in this, or just you can comment as always whenever you want about cinema in general, and always happy to respond to respectful comments. And it's been a great time very recently, and I'm in a great mood once again. So yes, hopefully I'm trying to keep up that mood, and see if I can just ride this high of just recent experiences film wise, and just keep it going. And hopefully that will also mean as well that I can kind of find more of a once again maintain perhaps kind of a groove in reviewing films, and kind of keep it up in that sense as well. It will affect everything, of course, and of course be great as always to discuss with you viewers in the comments. What do you think of these films? Have you seen these films? And of course, yes, as I say, I'll be reviewing a variety of films I've mentioned here, and only a matter of time really, and yes, but always great to discuss in the comments, and at least this way, once again, these film log videos, it's a great way to kind of at least get some mentions of what films that otherwise I maybe not wouldn't be able to have the kind of dialogue perhaps elsewhere, because I might not be able to review a variety of films, and at least in these videos I can mention them, bring them up, and kind of spark potentially multiple conversations within the one video. And that's the beauty of this kind of series. So yes, of course, thanks for watching if you have, and as I say, it'll be 2 months away that I do the next kind of film log update video. I also have I will say of course a variety of reviews coming very, very soon, but yes, also Blu-ray update video. Again, every 2 months I do this, and I'm going to be filming that in a few days as well, and so that'll be uploaded again without kind of getting into specifics. Probably around a week from now, you'll see my next Blu-ray update video. So yes, as always, take care, and yes, thanks for watching.